Hey, this is Rob Anspach, and welcome back to another edition of eHeroes. This is episode 228 for those keeping track, and I am nerding out. I have an awesome guest. She does books, she does comics, she does it all. Jaimie Engle, thank you for being here. It's a
Ah,
pleasure, and oh my God, I dream of my books becoming print or becoming uh, Hollywood fodder one day, and here you are, living the dream.
yeah, I'm trying, Rob. I'm trying. Yeah, I am not gonna lie, it's very cool. As a word, I guess a wordsmith like yourself, we have it all in our imagination. So getting some of the behind the scenes footage from the director and the producer and actually seeing my imagination, I guess, on the like in real life has been so weird and very, very cool.
Hmm.
I like it a lot.
Well,
I do.
I struggled. I've produced 36 books in almost 10 years, and but I also have a marketing company, so I my brain's everywhere, and
Mm-hmm.
the initial 30 some books were okay. I mean, I wrote some for myself, wrote some for clients, and they didn't get traction until my Rob Versus series came out, which is all sarcasm, and we have the same um, kind of production coach, Jonathan Thompson, who I interviewed
Jonathan
back
Thompson.
in episode 196, and
Awesome.
he saw in both of us something, and he said,
Well,
"Look, this is what's going to happen. This is what you got to do. This is the time frame." And you got to be patient. And I'm thinking, I got ADD. I can't be patient.
yeah, that's definitely been, I think, the biggest learning experience in this past year and a half. Which, I mean, in all reality, is not a long time to wait from,
Right.
getting a script to somebody and then getting it to production. Like it's crazy fast. But as a self-published author, I am in control of everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I have the idea, I write the book, I publish it whenever, however. So it's been, a lot of self-talk and a lot of telling myself just to relax and actually just to write. So I
Mm-hmm.
did write six feature film scripts and three television pilots with Bibles in that year while I was waiting, because otherwise I was going to be like the Wayne's World ex-girlfriend. Hey, did we break up? Are we still together? So I didn't want to do that and then be like, forget this girl. We've got 100 other scripts to pick from. Let's
Right.
just go with somebody else. So learning patience was the hardest.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very happy that I was quiet, but
But
definitely the hardest thing.
you've kind of gone about several genres, though. I mean, you're in books, you're in comics, you're doing kids stuff, and I focused on business books for a long time. That's great. Um, but with business books, you got to basically be PC, and I just got tired of it, and I had to get those sarcasm books out there because I knew that that's what the world needed. I wanted people to laugh better, and they've actually been more profitable than the rest of them. So,
It's funny because sometimes you have to pivot
right.
to find your voice almost, and that happened to me too with like I've been writing kids books, middle grade thrillers. I say my books are like warm-hearted inclusive underdog tales, but in multiple genres, mostly speculative fiction.
Hmm.
And I've loved them. I've gotten great reviews. Hustled lots of school visits, lots of library visits, lots of weekend sales. I have an event on Saturday at a church bazaar where I go to church, and like lots of those events, and I love them because I get to meet people. Um, but I pivot into screenwriting and into romantic comedy,
Hmm.
and bam, like it worked.
Right.
So sometimes you have to, if you love something, like I love writing, I love storytelling, like you. Sometimes you have to just be willing to like try something else. My husband said you need to write horror, and I'm like, I can't even watch horror or read horror. Like, how can I write it? And I wrote a story about a guy turning into a zombie and being like locked in his own mind, watching it through his own eyes. And it was my first fiction publication.
Hmm.
So you just don't know what you got into you till you kind of step outside your comfort zone.
Well, I think the only zombie movie I like is Warm Bodies, where the zombie actually becomes a human afterwards, which
Right?
which was very funny, and it wasn't really horror at all.
Right.
So
It's
that's my
more the sarcasm, like right up
yes,
your alley, right?
right. But the I forgot what I was gonna say. See, zombies always mess me up.
Zombies. It's just
Yeah,
about
but
the zombies.
oh, the my very first book, which I launched 10 years ago, which was all about social media. One of the things I hated was doing book signings. I'm like, I'll sit on my couch and I'll sign the book and mail it to you, but I don't want to go to your darn bookstore and sit there for 3 hours and get talk to one person. I mean,
Oh,
I
yeah.
did that 3 times, and it's like, no, I got better things to do. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
and I watch these authors do it day in and day out, and sometimes they get big crowds, sometimes they get nothing. And I'm like, no, not working, not doing it. Nope.
Yeah, and you have to know like your strengths and your weaknesses and what works for you and what doesn't. And I totally agree. Who wants to waste their time?
Hmm.
And I also like I've seen that a lot with events where you like get a table and you're super excited and then it's not you don't make your money back for your
Right.
table fee and whatnot. But what I have found like big picture is something always comes from everything, whether it's that one person who, a year later they reach out to me and they say, "Hey, I met you at Barnes and Noble. I was the one person who bought your book that day. We'd love to have you come out to our school and do a school visit, and we're going to pay you
Hmm.
and buy books," or you meet someone at an event and then they connect you to somebody else, which is how I met Jonathan actually.
Right.
So I try to like as much as it's frustrating in the moment and it feels like such a waste of money especially and time, like I do try to just hold on to the fact that something positive will come from this, but
Hmm.
you do have to manage it. You can't say yes to everybody. I mean,
Right.
the Legion up the road who wants you to come and sign books for and they're all drinking beer, like they don't even know you're there, like that's
Right.
probably not your best spot.
Yeah.
So yeah, you just have to like
And then
balance it as a
and then I
business
and then
owner.
I get on a plane, go give a speech in like Vegas or Dallas, and I don't take any books because I don't want to haul the stuff back. So I get there and
Right.
people are like, "Where's your books?"
Yeah.
Back home.
Yeah.
So
Amazon?
yeah, I'm like, "Hey, just buy them on Amazon." And I'm like, but they're like, "We can't get your autograph. You really want my autograph? Are you into that?" It's like,
Here's just give me a
no.
piece of paper.
Yeah. So
Just glue it in.
I know a lot of people, and the funny thing is 2014 when I spoke at my very first event after my first book came out. This other gal had been on the speaking circuit for a while, and she had this really awesome book, awesome story, and she had like 400 copies. She's signing them, thinking, "Good God, I don't want to sign 400 copies."
Forget how to spell my
And
name halfway through
right,
that.
and I reached out to her, I guess about a year ago, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm sitting in my living room. I got to sign 1,000 copies for till tomorrow, for this event that I'm doing tomorrow." And I'm like, "Stamp it." I'm not
Yeah,
doing it.
that's a lot. You gotta
Uh,
like plan that out for a few weeks, I think.
yeah, that would drive me nuts. And I do send a lot of people to Amazon, and then I cringe because I'm like, I don't have their name, I don't have their
Yeah.
address, I can't communicate with them. But I get that check from Amazon or direct deposit, however it works, and then I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's
I like meeting people. I like seeing the I don't know, like getting excited about my stories and seeing them be like, "Oh wow," because you're an unknown, and
right.
then by the time they leave, they're maybe a new fan, and
Hmm.
and they'll come back and they'll tell other people, and it's I like that. I think it's fun. But yeah, I met a guy the other day. He does oh I can't remember the author's name. Those guys that do like James Patterson. He's one
Hmm.
of James Patterson's writers. He lives
Yeah.
locally near me. He was just at a local event, like a Comic Con, toy show, and he told me this, what he does, and he goes, "Oh, I hate it." He's like, "I sit at home, I write, I send it off. I am very happy." He's like, "I would never want to do what you're doing."
Yeah.
And I would go stir crazy if I just sat and wrote all the time and didn't,
Yeah.
like see people and meet people and see their reaction to my
And
products and what.
and for me, it's kind of um, odd, and I'm having this battle within myself, going, okay, do I have to be nice when I get to this event, or can I be my grumpy self? And people are coming up and they're hugging me, and I'm like, "You get away,"
Yeah.
and it's something that I'm gonna have to get used to,
Yeah.
because you know most of these I'm writing these books to help other people, to share my stories, and it was never about fame and fortune. It was just about me sharing. And now it's like, oh, now I have to care about you. Now I have to do this. Now I have to do that.
So maybe
No.
you put that lemonade stand, like wooden thing like Charlie Brown and Lucy have, and then you just say like grumpy advice, 5 cents with a purchase of a book. No hugs, please.
Really. And it's odd
And people will
because,
know.
I live in southern Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. And, it's I can go anywhere, nobody knows me, which is great. As soon as I step on a plane, I land in Dallas, I land in San Diego, people are coming out of the woodwork, Rob, Rob, and I'm like, and it's like, no. So
Well,
it's
that
like,
sounds pretty fun, Rob.
yeah.
I would definitely get a shirt that says "No hugs, please," just to put it out there, and then at least it's established.
But how did you transition from writing books to comics? Because to me, that is fantastic, and not a lot of people do it.
So I've been writing books for 10 years, and then I decided I wanted to go back into screenwriting, which is what I'd wanted to do. But I lived in Florida, and this was the
Oh, I'm
2000s. You
so
couldn't
sorry.
possibly
Yeah,
sell to
right.
Hollywood in the 2000s from Florida. So now, years later, I met an entertainment attorney through a local guy here who had just left LA. It was just
Mhm.
a unicorn thing, and we both like unicorns. We talked about that before the recording,
Yeah,
and
my latest book,
yeah.
Rob versus the Unicorn, and she was dressed up as a. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, you'll put that link in the notes or something because it's pretty funny. So yeah, so I wrote a script for one of my short stories in the toilet papers, places to go while you go, and I turned it into a TV show.
And it works best with your Squatty Potty.
Yes, you have to have a Squatty Potty. It's important. It's actually endorsed by Squatty Potty. I don't know if you can read it, but it's endorsed by Squatty Potty, so you can trust it. So yeah, so I wrote a TV pilot and then the Bible based off of one of the short stories, and a Florida-based comic book company called Blood Moon Comics. The owner reached out to me and said, "Hey, I saw your script was winning awards, and I'm interested in have you ever thought about writing a comic?" And the owner, Keith, I've known him for years, but he knows I'm a book author and that I don't read comics as much as I want to. I've tried and I don't get them. I mean, I do now, but I had to, I would only read the words. I would forget
Mm,
about the picture. So I had to learn how to read comics. And he said, "Why don't you, let me publish your comic?" And I reached out to Cool as Heck. He's my artist. His last name is Kolasek, Jeff Kolasek. And so since he was a kid, his nickname has been Cool as Heck. And he's amazing artist. He writes the upper deck for Marvel. He does their cards, so he's just a great artist. And we came together and we did the 9 circles, which is
yeah,
the issue one.
the graphics in that comic are intense, and I'm remembering back, when I was a wee little lad, back in the 1800s. Um, the comics were like one color, and these little tan pages, and
Right.
and now there are these full color novels, and
Yeah.
it's
Well, and
eye
you
candy.
it is, and that's what he always says. He always calls it eye candy. And really, film and television have kind of matured in the same way, or television, because you think back to the plot lines of stories. I've been binging Murder She Wrote. I'm on like season 13. This was had nothing to do with the Jessica Fletcher passing. I know it's not her real name, but that's how I'll always know her.
Hmm.
Had nothing to do with that. I've been binging it, and like the stories, they're so comfortable because they're so predictable and they're just so sweet. And even though someone gets murdered every episode, which is just hard to reconcile, um, you couldn't get away with that television today. You can watch a Marvel movie for 8 weeks, and like that is the coolest. So it's kind of the same growth and maturity in the storytelling, and that, people are not going to settle for three colors and, lame stories and bad writing. They're just not going to deal with it anymore because there's so many ways they can spend their time, and they're not going to allocate it to you if you didn't do something that's worthy of it, really. You got to buy their time.
I've been binge watching MASH,
Okay,
and
so you feel me.
but the humor and the rapid fire dialogue was just phenomenal back then.
Mhm.
Now it just seems like it's so formula.
Yeah.
It's awful, and that's why, with my Rob versus series, I want to bring back a series that's funny, that doesn't purposely offend people. If you get triggered, that's on you. But it's kind of on the line of Seinfeld and the old Family Matters and Cosby and some of that humor that we all love, that we all grew up with,
Yeah.
and I think we need it back. The shows
Yeah.
today they're just awful.
Yeah. I do love a lot of them, but yes, I totally agree with you that there needs to be a back to that, like meatloaf television. We need a little bit of that. It doesn't have to all be, you know, bad and negative and destructive. Like we
Right.
can have a place on television for some comfort food film and television, I think too.
One of the things that I think differentiates you versus other people is you celebrate your wins. Every Friday, you're doing some type of video. You're doing something, and the people that are following you, they're clicking. They're going, "Wow, this is amazing." And it doesn't have to be a huge win. It could be something small, and
Yeah.
and it's just not many people do that.
Well, as a creative, it takes a long time to write a book or produce a movie or even sell something.
Hmm.
And it's really easy to get discouraged because our our end game is so far away. Like an artist, you can draw and show and people applaud. Like it's so fast. Or
Hmm.
even a poet or a short story writer. Like you can write something very quickly and then get that, you did a good job. But I feel like in our fields, it's so far away that we really have to think about, what did I do this week? Well, I wrote every single day this week. That's my win. I wrote 1,000 words every day. I committed to it and I followed through, and that's a win.
Hmm.
And if you do that every day for as long as you need to, then eventually you'll be able to say, my win this week is I published a book,
Right.
and you can go buy it now. You
Yeah.
can be excited with me. So yeah, I'm starting to see people tell me their wins finally. It took a while for them to realize that this wasn't a Jaimie bragging moment. This was like, hey guys, this is what I did. What'd you do? So I'm finally starting to get some feedback, and it's really exciting to see what other creatives are doing and their little milestone steps, so we can all celebrate our journeys together.
One of the things that I had to overcome was not looking at reviews, or not caring, or not giving a shit what other people say about my books. I think it took to about the fourth or fifth book before I'm like, I'm not even looking. I don't care, because if they don't like it, that's on them.
Yeah, I
Um,
I think my best worst review was someone reviewed the toilet papers and literally said 1 star, filled with crappy stories. I didn't know if I should thank them or if I missed something, but I thought the irony was so splendid that if I was somebody looking at the reviews, I would buy the book because of that review, because I'd
right.
be like, this is too good.
What
So
what
yeah.
what is one book that you wrote that you thought would do well and didn't?
Um I'd like to say all of them. um it's very difficult to be an indie who writes middle grade, because middle graders don't tend to shop on Amazon for the next favorite book. They go to school and the teachers tell them, hey, if you read these 30 books, you get points and you can take tests and you can get prizes. So it's very hard to compete with that. But I think like the book that I wrote that I thought was going to do better, but I really don't think it was me, was The Pets of Elsewhere. That was probably my 2021 launch, and that's probably why. I was kind of transitioning into film, so I didn't give it a lot of love, but it's a really fun Goosebumps kind of scary story that like Goosebumps meets Goonies. In St. Augustine, and haunted animals are speaking to a boy and his sister to tell their real story about what happened to them, to kind of redeem them and be their voice. So it's very fun. It's got adventure. It's got ghosts. It's got drama. It's got bicycles, which I think are important these days because everything's Stranger Things. So
Yeah,
so I'd like to give that a little more love.
I couldn't get into Stranger Things. My wife loved it. Yeah, my wife loved it. I watched like one season and I'm like, no.
Let me tell you, Rob, my husband and I watched the first 2, maybe 3 episodes, and we had a dinner date planned with another couple. And we literally like went to dinner and like ate as fast as we could, and then we were going to go do something else with them, and we were like, yeah, we're just going to go home. And I think we binged like the whole season that night. It was so it spoke to us. It was our language. So but yeah, we've never done that before or since.
And
sorry, whoever that couple was, if you're watching.
If you're just joining us, we're getting nerdy with shows, and this is what I love about authors who get it. We enjoy other things. It's not that we're just sitting here writing constantly, because honestly, I hate writing, but I know it's what I love. It's what makes me money. If I could just say, hey, and just speak into it and transcribe it, that would be wonderful. But we have to put in the work. Everything that we do has to amount to something.
The process of I think my favorite part of writing is that I'm my first reader. I get to see the story unfold and the layers unfold, that the audience just gets the end.
Right.
And I get to kind of go through all those layers, which is, the nerdy side of me that likes to break down a Marvel movie or a Harry Potter, like I like to know those layers. So usually I'm deconstructing. So when I'm writing, I'm constructing. And I think that's really fun to be the first person to get to do that for my stories.
Right. I mean, I go through, I read the book, especially my own, 4 or 5 times, and I'm like, okay, I think I'm finished. No. I got to correct it. I got to do this. I got to do that. I'm like, and after I did that a few times, and I'm like, no, I'm just going to give it to somebody, because I'm just going to keep on improving it. And you got to know when to say when. When is good is good. See that? Ugh. I mess up on every single episode. You think after 200 some I would get my words out? No.
Listen, I always tell people all my good words I put in the book, so you get what's left over. Sorry.
Yeah, it's by the time the weekend comes around, we don't want to talk anymore. Yeah, the book behind me, Lessons from the Dojo. I wrote that in 2015, and I had scheduled the launch of that book, not knowing that my wife and I were going to Italy.
Oh no.
And I said, the book is scheduled to launch in October 15th. She says, oh, we're going to be in Italy that week. I'm like, what? Can we reschedule the trip? She says, no, it's through the church. We can't do that.
That's what it is.
So, the book didn't do as well as I had hoped, but after about 4 years, it finally took off.
There you go. Hey, that's the good thing about Amazon, is that your back list is your front list is your side list. It doesn't really matter. Whatever you put your social media and Amazon dollars into to try to like get out there more, people will respond to it. And so that's kind of cool that we have that opportunity.
Yeah. How do you like, though, writing for scripts instead of writing for books or comics?
Oh, I love it. it comes more naturally to me. It translates better. The responses that I'm receiving from producers are much stronger than the responses I used to receive from agents and editors.
Hmm.
So that's really exciting. And I'm very prolific, fast, and even with books, but I have so many stories in my head and so many new stories that come to me. And knowing that if I really wanted to, I could literally tell 12 complete stories a year or more
Hmm.
is very enticing versus writing and editing a book. Personally, I could probably do two a year,
Hmm.
but I think I would lose interest too fast if I was just doing that over and over again,
Yeah.
without having something else to go to. So
Right.
like you, business. I like marketing. I have swag for all my stuff. I used to make candles. I have some candles for the Just Jake book. I have aprons. I have T-shirts and little baby books that I make. Like when I'm watching TV and turn them into little bookmarks, and they match my books. And I love that kind of stuff too, because I have to be creating, but I don't always, like you said, I don't want to always sit down and write.
Yeah.
So, and I can't do art no matter what Diamond Publications posted about issue 3 of the Nine Circles, or no, it wasn't that one. It was Gaijin in Tokyo, that I was the artist illustrator. It's not true, but I do like to joke with my artists that I art too. And
Yeah, I'm not an artist, and I pay someone to do all that because
yeah,
um,
because you want to sell books.
right. And the funny thing is half my collection, half my books, I just call Freddie up. I said, Freddie, I got another book. Here's the title. Work
Cool.
your magic. And
Love it.
he used to send me 4 or 5 different layouts, and
Yeah.
now he sends me one. He goes, I know what you like. This is what
Yeah.
it is, and I'm like, perfect, and I just
Yep.
run with it.
That's great. That's what you need.
Yeah, and but yeah, the reason I did the whole Rob versus books is, and it started out with Rob versus the scammers, all the scammers calling you up on the phone trying to get your Visa, MasterCard,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
so every page is a new story with me fighting these guys, and people are like, well, wow, I love those stories you share on Facebook. Can you make a book? I'm like, okay. So, and then I'm not really into sequels. So I didn't want it Rob versus the Scammers 2 or 3 or 4.
Sure.
So I had to make it Rob versus the Morons, Rob versus Humanity, Rob, and people picked it up so much better. I mean, they like it because it's every single book is a little different, but it's still on the same premise. And
That's
you know,
fun.
now I hand them, and these are just conversations that I'm just throwing out my sarcasm, wasting people's times, whether it be on the phone, whether customer service, whether. And Jonathan laughed so hard, and he goes, Rob, this is a TV show. And so we wrote the first pilot, and so now we're just trying to get it out there.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So
It's hard.
it's always I think it's always nice to have someone in your corner that's rooting for you, that's pushing for you, and
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. And that you can trust and who's honest. And Jonathan Thompson is totally the guy to say, hey, this is crap.
Well, and the funny thing is, I didn't know him from Adam.
Yeah. Me neither.
And I saw him on LinkedIn, and I think that's where I found you,
Mhm.
and I said, tell me a little bit about your service. And I said, oh, and he goes, this is what I do. I said, okay. And I sent him a few books, and that was history. So
Yeah.
it was kind of cool,
Yeah.
So
For sure.
where can people go to find your books besides Amazon?
Yeah. Mhm. If my name at Jaimie Engle Writes, I'm all over social media there, so you can always connect that way. I do have like a Facebook store and whatnot, um, and actually I do have a Whatnot. That's a real thing. It's a
A
new app.
whatnot?
Whatnot is an app. Is it Whatnot, Hannah? Yeah. What? Sorry, my assistant's over here.
Your sister.
Whatnot is it's an app platform where you can do auctions and sell your stuff and read from your book or whatever. We'll talk about it off air, but I
And
just
it's Jaimie the right way.
yes,
Jaimie.
2 eyes so I can see,
That's
There were 5 Jaimies in my 8th grade class. There were 5 of us because I know I'm sure they were too, named after the Bionic Woman. So it was a very popular name in the late 70s. And so there were 5 of us in the 8th grade, so we all spelled it different, and I chose this way. I digress. My website is jaimieengle.com, or like I said, you can find me all over social media with pretty much the same handle.
So how do you handle this newfound fame?
It's funny. Whenever I do a school visit, one of the 3 questions I always get asked is, are you famous? And I always answer them, yes, in this room. That's it.
Only my mom considers me famous.
That's right.
Actually, my mom goes, tell me again what you do.
I hear you. My oldest son is 21, and back in high school when I first started, he said, Mom, you're one of my top 3 favorite authors. I'm like, wow. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah. Well, my youngest son is 17. He's going to be graduating high school this year. And he's like, Dad, I want to be a copywriter. I'm like, awesome.
Yeah.
And he goes, what book should I read? And I'm like, the one I co-wrote. And he goes, you wrote a book on copywriting?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's going to pay for your college, by the way.
And, it was actually a buddy of mine's book. And he sat on it for like 10 years, and he sent it to me. I said, look, I'm going to redo this. We're going to do that. And I'm going to add some things. And we published it in 2017 for him. And
Cool.
so he's got the main credit because,
Sure.
I love him to death. He's the one who got me into marketing 20 some years ago. And so I only got this little co-author, contributor.
It's like the James Patterson co-author, right?
Yeah. And yeah. And but it's become in the last 5 years, it's become, I think, the number 8th best copywriting book out of 100.
Awesome. That's awesome.
So it's not something that we're making lots of money on, but the back end,
it's helping people, right?
Right. It's helping people. The back end is we get jobs out of it. We get this, we get that, we get speaking. So and I guess this is one of the things that I tell a lot of my clients, because they have these business book ideas, and I help them publish them. Whereas you write these kid books and comics, and that is sort of a primary source of income. Whereas a business book is more as, here's my book. This is a business card, but read it. You're going to learn a lot of stuff, and it gives them credibility and authority,
right.
and a lot of back end stuff happens, speaking and whatnot.
Sure.
But you get all that wrapped up in a nice little bow.
Yeah. You got to brand yourself. You are the product that's being sold to, if you think about it,
Right. And with your 9 circles, you can have action figures, you can have all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't ever see myself being an action figure.
You can be what are those little, not the bobbleheads, but what are those things that everybody wants to buy
Funko Pop?
Yeah, you could be a Funko Pop.
No, I don't think I want to be a Funko Pop.
Hey, if I was a dude and I had a grandkid, I'd make them call me Funko Pop, but that's just me. You mentioned grandkids earlier. I'd be like, call me Funko Pop.
Yeah, my 9-year-old grandson, he's like, no.
Oh, he's too old. You have to start when they're really young and they don't know any different.
Yeah, my 2-year-old granddaughter might, but yeah.
There you go. The 9-year-old would be like, why do you call him Funko?
But so you're down in Florida.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm east of Disney, like near the Kennedy Space Center or whatever it's called now. It's been the Kennedy Space Center since I was like in second.
Well, Cocoa Beach is right up this. So that's one of my favorite.
Five minutes south.
That's where I Dream of Jeannie was filmed.
Yeah.
Well, not really filmed, but that's the location.
That's where.
Yeah. But and St. Augustine's one of my favorite touristy places. Yeah,
we have a hotel booked there, middle of December for our Night of Lights, which is my favorite time of the year, St. Augustine Night of Lights. So maybe if you guys want to sponsor St. Augustine Night of Lights, if you'd like to sponsor this podcast, you're welcome to. You're welcome. So go to JaimieEngle.com. Is that right? Yeah. And just give her your credit card. That's it. Super easy. Yeah, I mean, it's $10,000, right? No problem. Among friends, come on, $1 a light. Should probably be a millionaire.
Yeah, and she'll send you at least a couple issues of Nine Circles.
Yeah, a couple, like 3.
No, but it is a good, great comic. And
Thank you.
I guess did you get it signed? Are you going big screen with that one?
It is currently, Jonathan has it. He's working on it with me. Um, I've got um, the producer for Thinner and The Stand has, I brought him he reached out to me actually, which is insane. We've been working on it for like a past year. So now I've brought him into the fold with Jonathan, and Jonathan has his people. So we are working to get it possibly like pitched to Netflix, pitched to HBO kind of thing. So I'm hopeful, but like everything else, it's not a deal till there's a signature.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I just get excited that people like the story enough to even care to try and help me get it out there. That's like how many writers, especially screenwriters, will ever have their work read by a producer or
Right.
considered or tried to shop by somebody. So I feel very honored that
Yeah.
I have so many people that are just trying to help me. I know they get paid. I know it's not philanthropic, but
Right.
just trying to help me because they believe in my story and they think I'm a great writer. So it's really cool.
And your Just Jake got signed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're production. We went into production on Tuesday.
I mean, that's
So we'll
exciting.
be in production the 29th of November through December 15th, and it'll be on Up TV Faith and Family Network in 2023. And the book will be published on August 29th of 2023.
Nice.
And I have a Goodreads like placeholder set up for Just Jake. If you like put in Just Jake Engle, it'll pop up and you can add it to your shelf. So when it does launch, it'll automatically send you an email that the book's available.
See, there you go. Just that easy.
That easy.
Yeah, she makes it so much easier than and people think, oh yeah, just write a book and go to Hollywood. That's all you gotta do. No, it's a lot of work and a lot of patience.
Yeah,
And
there's a lot of this.
and I think that had I not owned a marketing company and focused on my clients, and if I was just having one book and I gave it to Jonathan and say, hey, look, make me a Hollywood star, I'd be sitting there twiddling my thumbs. It would drive me nuts.
Yeah.
But see, this way I can focus on other stuff, and you have other things that you're doing, which takes your focus away from. So yeah, trying to become an options screenwriter takes time.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
and for all those that say, well, but all those stories, like my favorite movie is Highlander, and the guy who wrote that was a college kid who was was told to write an assignment, and he wrote this story, and the teacher went, wow. And the next thing you knew, it was Hollywood picked it up and ran with it. And I'm like, yeah, but it doesn't happen that way.
It's
So
not the norm.
no, no. So any last words of wisdom?
No, I just if you're a
No,
writer,
you just forget
I
it.
mean, all my words of wisdom are, probably not that wise. But if you're a writer, I would just recommend that you write, that you put money into your business to get better, take classes, and that you just don't give up
Right.
because
And don't listen
you
to the
know
naysayers.
no, just keep going because you know your voice may be the only voice that somebody listens to that resonates with them.
Hmm.
And it's if you are gifted with an idea from God, the universe, the ether, whatever, if you receive an idea, there's a reason that you got that and there's somebody that's waiting to receive it, and it's almost like your obligation to tell that story even if it's for one person. Really quick story and then we can peace out. During my very frustrated days of why am I doing this? My son, who's now 21, was in high school and he said, Mom, I want to tell you something. When you came to my middle school, there was a boy who told me this story like in high school. When you came to our middle school to talk about your book, Clifton Chase and the Arrow of Flight, and do your anti bullying presentation, he said that he was planning to go home and kill himself that day. But something that you said in your presentation stopped him. And he's alive today because of your presentation. And he told my son that story. So if I only wrote that book to save that kid's life, it's just like feel goosebumps. Awesome.
Right.
What would have happened to that kid had I not written that book and not, pursued an anti-bullying presentation and reached out to the school where the story takes place? Like that's where the character went to school. What would have happened to his life? I don't want to think about that.
Yeah.
So you just write your story, get it out. It doesn't matter if 1 person or 1 million people receive it. Just keep writing and then write the next one.
And it doesn't matter when you start. See, I started writing stories when I was 18, when I was in college. It took me 25 years to finally put that first book out.
Yeah.
And now 36 books later in 10 years, and people are like, Rob, that's way too many books. I can't believe you even wrote one. It's like, so I don't listen to the naysayers. I just do what I want to do. I write what I want to write, and I continue to write. And those who want it will read it.
Yeah.
Those who resonate with who I am, with my sarcasm, they'll enjoy the books.
Yeah.
And so I will continue to share my stories, and I hope that the listeners out there, because I've been doing the podcast for 5 years now, and
Awesome.
most of every single episode revolves around the sentiment of sharing that story. Hopefully it hits home to somebody.
Absolutely. That one person that needs it. Maybe it's my voice that resonates with them. Who knows? Or the next guy.
Go to Jaimie's website, jaimieengle.com. And she's got some merch on there. So go in there and buy some stuff. Support her.
Thank you, Rob. I appreciate this.
Until next time, we'll see you guys on the next episode.